Old people of Reddit, what are some challenges kids today who romanticize the past would face if they grew up in your era? My dad used to play a game to see who could match and fold the most laundry he never once won. Split custody with my ex. When my son was around 10, he visited 2 weekends a month. I was waiting tables and didn't have a huge amount to spend, but he was so needy from divorce, and I'm not blaming him, it was ugly. He begged constantly for more when he was with me. Whatever more was, it didn't matter. He'd be eating ice cream cone and begging for teriyaki. I finally realized that he just felt empty, and getting more whatever from me wasn't filling him up. His next visit I handed him $100 in cash and told him it was our food/fun budget for 3 days and 2 nights, and he was in charge of it. I bought him his own wallet to carry. We figured out how many times we were going to eat and what we were going to do, and he paid. He got to keep whatever money he had left. Thought he was rich, then realized just how much everything cost. Well, shoe on other foot then. If we had no money for food, we ate leftovers, and I didn't contribute more to pot. After a few weekends of running short or not getting something he actually wanted because he was foolish with funds, he started to really think about how to spend that money. He budgeted and kept to his budget, and a few times he actually went home with a little cash for his private stash. Many years later, he thanked me for this. It really changed the way he thought about money and love. My wife used to tell the kids that I didn't want them to try new things because I didn't want to share it with them. Sometimes they'd like it, and I'd make a big deal out of it about having to share with them. Sometimes they'd say, "This one is all yours, Dad. You win some, you lose some," but at least they would typically try things this way. No, you cannot take this after-school science extracurricular activity. They have robots, lasers, explosions, and other dangerous stuff like that. I don't know if it was truly reverse psychology or an exhausted response out of desperation. We were in Jeanette at the grocery store checking out. Kid was 3, and the meltdown started and quickly became an on-the-floor tantrum. I looked down and said, louder than normal, but not yelling, "Where is your mother? We need to find your mom." She was startled because I'm her mom and confused, but the tantrum ended quickly and with hugs. My mom would tell me she only lets me eat soup after candy, and she'd only buy me candy that I didn't like. After a few times, I stopped trying and begged her to let me eat soup first. She gave me a smirk and told me, "Go ahead." This doesn't sound as evil as it was, but trust me, I suffered. When I was in 5th grade, I won the DARE medal and got to speak at their graduation. When I showed my mom the medal, she laughed and said, "Oh, that's cute. Well, see how you feel about drugs in high school." That pissed me off to no end, so I never did drugs, just to prove my mom wrong. It seemed like the minute my son realized he was going through puberty, he developed a need to show everyone how strong he was, usually by carrying things. Now, my son was a rather small, wiry, hyperkinetic kid, not at all a football player or weightlifter type. Yet I noticed starting when he was around 13 that if something heavy or heavy-ish needed moving, he was always right there with a need to show he could do it. I took full advantage. I don't think I lifted anything heavier than my purse until he moved out. All I had to do was mention that I was going to put X in Y place, put the suitcases in the car for vacation, carry that gigantic load of laundry upstairs, etc., and pretend like it was too heavy for me, and he would appear, as if summoned from the universe to do it for me. The reverse psychology aspect was my saying, "Oh my, that looks heavy," and him proving to me that no, it's not. I have a 3-5-year-old. He picked up the word F***K. Anytime he said it, I would calmly walk over, grab a fork, and bring it to him. After a few times, he thought he was just mispronouncing the word and dropped it altogether. Mum had sworn a bit around the house. While out at the supermarket, I said the F word really loudly. Very quickly and intently, she asked if I had just said truck, and said that was a bad word and not to ever say truck like that again. I thought that was the bad word, so use that when being naughty. One of my best friends through childhood used to be punished with no salad if she misbehaved. She cherishes salad now and would always try to eat as much as possible during school lunch. Coincidentally, her now husband used to be punished with no books. It had the same effect. I think it's hilarious that they'd be hitting the salad bar and library like some black market their narc parents couldn't reach, hahaha. Don't know if this counts, but at my high school, private, boys only, in the 1960s, they made a big deal about how long your hair was and would occasionally order a boy to go home and get a haircut. I thought it was stupid until years later, a master confided to me at a reunion that the policy was deliberate. The school figured we'd spend so much energy rebelling about hair length that we would ignore other aspects of teenage rebellion. Not surprisingly, they were mostly right. My uncle used to say, quick, before I give you $1, we would all run like mad to do whatever it was. I've used this on my kids and the look of confusion on their faces is all worthwhile. The cycle continues. Wanted to name my boat. Anything I would think of was dismissed as stupid by my 13-year-old son. After deciding on a name, I confided to a male friend my son liked. Made my friend suggest the name, as though it was his idea. My son thought the name was perfect. Done. I bet you can't. Both of them hate the assertion that they are not capable of doing something. Can you put your toys away? Will almost certainly garner a hard no, but I bet you can't put all those toys back in the box. No way you'll be able to. Will have them whizzing round tidying like demons. Followed by a very indignant "see, I told you I could." Cue fake surprise from me. They're only 4 and 7, so I know this has got limited time, but so far works like a charm every time. When my children were younger, I'd say, hey, if you do insert chore, then I'll buy you dinner tonight. They would get all excited and then go do the chore. The silly mom routine. My kid and a few other kids I've known would balk at getting ready to go. I'd grab their clothes and say, well, if you won't put on your clothes, I guess I'll put on your clothes. Cute shirt, by the way. Does it go on my foot? No. Does it go on my head? No. It goes on me. Oh, that's right. Thanks. So, it must go on your legs, right? No. I just can't figure this out. Where does this adorable shirt go? Kid grabs shirt and puts it on my tummy. Silly mom. Oh, thank you so much. Now what about these pants? Shirts go on tummies, so the pants go on the tummy too, right? No. Continue until kids have dressed themselves. I would also do things like hand the kid my keys and say, alright, you're driving. I'll sit in the booster seat and back, attempt to feed the kid by putting a spoon up to his ear or his belly button, and attempt to put away his toys in the refrigerator. I taught my kids, when they were toddlers, that no amount of yelling, shaking, or hitting can wake a sleeping adult. The only thing that works is a gentle hug and or a nice kiss on the cheek. Edit. Probably needed some more details for the reverse psychology aspect to be clear. It went something like this. Step 1. Tell the kids I'm going to sleep and nothing they do will wake me. Head buried face down is the safest position. Step 2. After the initial onslaught dies down, pretend to awaken on your own. Tell them you got a bit of nap left in you and nothing can wake you, especially not hugs and kisses. At around 5 years old, our adopted son was mad about something and snapped, "You're not my real parents." We both laughed and we never heard that line again. My mum had a friend that would put vegetables on her own plate and not the kids. When the kids asked, she would be reluctant to share. That's grown-up food. But I suppose I can let you have a little. Her kids grew up loving vegetables. I sat at the dinner table for 3 hours staring at the yucky cauliflower I refused to eat. My son was really impulsive when he was little and would try to run away from me when we would be crossing streets instead of holding my hand. So I started to tell him that he needed to hold my hand so nobody would try to steal me. It worked. He felt responsible for making sure nobody tried to kidnap me out in public. My mum would always yell at us, "If you don't do X, you have to go to bed without socks." My parents always told me my broccoli were the flowers of the queen, and that I really shouldn't eat them, or else the queen would get very upset. I, of course, ate the whole broccoli in a few seconds. I substitute teach sometimes, and if I get word ahead of time that the class is rowdy, I'll pretend I lost my voice. I write stuff down on a mini whiteboard, type on a screen. The students see that I need their help and they're a little easier to deal with. Facial expressions and gestures end up creating a naturally quiet environment. Always fun to surprise the kids at the end when I speak lol. Do you want your diner now or in 10 minutes? The illusion of choice. My 10-month-old daughter believes that falling over and hurting herself is a feat to be celebrated with a dance and clapping. Not parent, but once was a child. Dad saw a pack of cigarettes lying around in my stuff. He was a smoker in his younger years and knew how stupid it was. But he also was, and still is, a firm believer of making your own mistakes. So instead of giving me S***T for buying a pack of cigarettes and telling me how idiotic this habit is, he just gave me S***T for having such a S***T lighter and gave me a better one so that I wouldn't embarrass myself. That was my parents' approach to everything. That was typical teen rebel stuff. Basically killing everything rebel about it. It did work almost every time. Our kiddo skipped out on trying a lot of the more dangerous things because I told him to do them in my most evil voice. Asterisk, try that piece of gum you found under the table, I bet it's still delicious. Mwahaha. Asterisk, stick a fork in the electric outlet, I bet it makes a fun noise. Mwahaha. Asterisk, take 3 cupcakes instead of just 1. It will make your tummy feel great. Mwahaha. Somehow an evil voice telling the kiddo to do something makes him realize it would actually hurt him, when me just saying, don't do that means maybe it's fun, but you're just not allowed. And now it's part of a fun game. Daddy, give me a test. And then I either give him a piece of good advice or bad advice, and he stops and thinks about the consequences, and tells me whether I'm being good or evil. It really puts him in a smart frame of mind instead of the borderline suicidal attitude he started out with. Hi, I was a victim. There was a forbidden book that I was not allowed to read on the shelf. My parents said I could only read it if I behave myself. It was summer holidays, and I was playing games all day after 6 hours of summer homework. One day I was home alone and had the opportunity to grab it. I read like half of it in one go. It was 5,000 years of Chinese history. Safe to say I was bamboozled. Not reverse psychology exactly, but when my first son was about 4 he would often burst into our bedroom way too early in the morning, full of energy. It was up to me to either get up and engage with him, or send him off on some mission so as to grab a few more precious minutes of shut-eye. One I'm proud of was telling him to find out which of his legs could run the fastest. He was charging around the corridor for ages doing a kind of manic goose step before he came back in panting that they were both the same. Edit. Thanks for the gold. Glad to have so many parents willing to try this madness with their own kids. Not really the same thing, but I love this story. My nephew had a day he decided to spit at people instead of reply normally. He's 2. He did it in response to what he wanted for lunch, and she said, "That's it, give me your tongue." He looked terrified, shook his head, and covered his mouth, as if she was going to reach and take it. She said, then stopped spitting. It worked like a charm. I will share this at his wedding someday. Best I saw was when the kid would never bother to take out the trash. The dad said it was fine, and he'd do it, and that he was sorry for thinking the kid was mature enough to be responsible for anything. Really made him feel like a baby, and a week later he started taking the trash out without being asked. Not a parent, but my mother tricked me into learning Spanish by telling me my brother was better at it than I was. I work with toddlers, and sometimes, if they fall down or get hurt, then I'll clap and cheer and tell them, "Wow, that was so cool." They smile and get up instead of crying and continue playing. Growing up we never had soft drinks, soda, in the house. My mum would on a rare occasion buy Diet Coke for herself and tell my brothers and I, yuck, why would you want this black drink? To this day I think Coke is disgusting and it hurts my teeth. I've done this one with tens of kids. Anytime a kid gets hurt, falls down on grass, gets gently hit in the face with a ball, etc., Instead of stopping the activity to pick the kid up and see if they're okay, you just scoot them off to the side and resume. Within 10 seconds of not getting all the attention and seeing the fun is resuming, they pop right back up and are magically healed. This of course is only for the injuries that aren't actually injuries. Twice a year I'll let the kids eat whatever they want and do whatever they want. It ends up being a lot of junk food. The first maybe 3 times they ate so bad a few of them threw up. They now regulate themselves much better and choose quality snacks over quantity. As a former kid, the best reversal my mom ever did was to get me to eat liver, which I hated. So she came up with this dish called revel, with onions, and served it. And I wolfed it down, glad to not have to eat liver. It took me years to realize what was going on. Not because I was dumb, but I never expected to be fooled on this, and not in such a cheap, underhanded way. Spell it backwards. All you did was rename it, and it worked. Mom. Damn it. RIP mom. I still make my own revel now and then just to reminisce. So I work at a day camp during the summer, and whenever a kid gets hurt or something I always joke around and say, alright, kid's name. Am I gonna have to call an ambulance? Docs. Gotta cut the limb right there. Just cut it off. Works every time. Gets them laughing. Potty training son. He just turned 3. He is proving harder and more stubborn than his sister was. When I put on his diaper I say, diapers are for little babies. Let's go put on you little baby diaper on. He says I'm not a baby. Well, big boys go on the potty. He's on day 5 with no diapers during the day. My dad used to say that when the ice cream truck was playing music it meant he had run out of ice cream. Wait, that's not reverse psychology. That's just F***ing lying dad. My wife was feeding our son, a year old, and he would refuse to eat his baby cereal, but wanted to eat the yogurt I was eating. So I took the spoonful of baby cereal and made it look like I scooped it out of the yogurt container. This was an ex of mine. His mom told him and his sister that whenever they were out on public that they had to make sure she wasn't kidnapped. So these 2 kids would follow their mom around and never lose sight of her, fearing that she would be abducted. Guess which kids never got lost? I used to tell my little toddlers that if they were fibbing, a black dot would appear on their tongue to their mother. So if I suspected a lie I just say, stick out your tongue. If they kept tight-lipped I knew I was right. They are teenagers now and laugh about how they fell for this for years. I pulled a version of Tom Sawyer painting the fence and tricking his friends into doing it for him. I wouldn't let my kids, 3 and 5, pick up the dog poop in our yard because it was too fun for me, and I still pretend to be reluctant to let them do it, to where they're begging and I'm like, okay just this one time. Next time I get to do it, I think I can ride it out for another 2 or 3 years if I keep my older son quiet so his sister can take over when he catches on. Make sure to like and subscribe for more daily content. Thanks for watching.